me. It nourishes me. What I want to talk about today is, it's a subject I could talk all day on, so my biggest challenge is to fit it into a nutshell. But to be honest, every time I do a talk, different things come about, because the talk comes through me, not necessarily of me, and I'm blessed in that way that happens. And I also trust that that which you need to know will come through today and be there. But do question me as we're going, if there's anything you don't understand. I'd like to just start. In Theosophy, we talk about three key aspects to, I suppose, changing the way you live, so that you don't just know about spirituality, you come to live it. It comes to be part of just who you are and how you live. And those three things, those three cornerstones, if you like, are study. And study, if you like, especially of occult classics or anything of a high vibration, whether it's Shakespeare or poetry or anything that really resonates with you, opens your mind and teaches you about yourself. So it's know thyself comes through study. And then another cornerstone of Theosophy is service. And what service does for us is it brings us back into connection and union with others. We come to lose our identity just with our own little selves, and we unite with others through service. And service from the heart, it's like heart work in action, if you like. Service freely given and given from the heart. And then the other cornerstone that helps, I find, that bridges the gap between the two is meditation. And I'm going to talk about yoga and meditation under a similar umbrella. But what meditation does, it helps to bring the mind, the study of the mind, together with the service of the heart. And it takes you into a place of know thyself on infinite different levels. And I'm going to talk a little bit today about what meditation does. And I will give you some handouts that will help guide you, or I'll send you in the direction of where you can find guidance if you feel drawn to meditate in your life, because meditation is something that comes when it's the right time. It's not something you put on your to-do list, I must do. It will begin in that way. There'll be a desire to meditate, but after a time it becomes part of your life, like breathing is part of your life, and probably just as important to you. So that's sort of the three cornerstones. With respect to study, I'm not going to concentrate on today because that's not the topic of our talk, but I would like to say that service, many of you will already be giving service all of the time in your lives, and quite often you don't even know you're giving service because you're so busy doing it. But one of the most important ways that you can serve mankind in your community, in your family, is through working on yourself. We all live in an energy environment, and that energy environment comes from the emotions and the thoughts and the energy of those people around us. So when you change your emotional, energetic self, the energy and the vibration that you give out cannot not change people around you. And this is the way we change the world. If you feel like, what can little old me do to change the world? You can do a lot to change the world. When my students come for yoga, I say, you do yoga for the world. You don't just, you have lovely benefits yourself, I know you do, but you do yoga for your family because they like who you are when you do yoga. And when you do yoga, you come to know thyself, know who you are on such a deep level that you start to have a love of being who you truly are, to expressing your soul. And when you express who you truly are and you express your soul, you give people an incredible gift, because you say to them, here is permission to be who you truly are. And you allow them to be their authentic selves. And there's no greater gift that you can give other people. That is freedom. That is enlightenment. Children do it for us. Do you notice when you're around very small children, you find the child in you comes out to play? You laugh, you forget your concerns, you're not quite so rigid as an adult, and children have a lovely way of just breaking up the energy so that we all feel more like a child and experience that just joy of being. And it's being. Children know how to be. They're very much in the moment, they're mindful, they just are who they are, and then gradually they learn how not to be who they are because they've got to fit in with all the rules. And that's part of the process. So then we come back again. We come back, and if you've ever met any truly holy people, you'll know that their energy and their resonance has a childlike, innocent quality to it. They just have a joy about them that is almost childlike. And so that's where we're heading back to, if that sounds okay with you. Yeah? Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a handout. If you just take one and pass it to the mum. I just want this diagram, you may have come across it before, but it is such a fundamental in Theosophy that I want to revisit it. Because every time I look at this diagram or explain this diagram, I understand a little bit more about it. And every time I read different books, they seem to fit into this diagram. So for me, it's a fundamental. So I'm just going to talk you through it. And please excuse me if I'm talking about stuff you already know. In Theosophy, we try and put it in a diagrammatic form so that we can understand something which is, it's not broken up into triangles and levels and layers within us, of course. We are a whole. But it does help us to understand. And the thing that it helps us to understand is what I'll talk about in a wee while with meditation. As you start to develop your discrimination, your discernment, you start to understand and see how you operate. You start to notice your thoughts and notice your emotions. And the moment that you are aware of the ego, you are beginning to transcend the ego. The minute you notice your thoughts, you have a choice whether you think them or not. The minute you notice you're reacting with some emotion because someone's pushed a button that they always push and you always react that way, in that split second, you've got a choice. Well, maybe I won't react that way this time. This upper triangle we think of as the soul. Up here, there's no time, there's no space. It's of a very high vibration, it's dimensionless and it's light. It's basically light and love, if you like. Down here, it's darker. We've got 3 dimensions, there's time and space, and it's more dense. Okay? It's more matter, if you like. The Logos, I suppose you could think of as spirit, God, universal consciousness. You have solar logos, planetary logos, you could go into all of that stuff forever. But if you like, we have a mananic ray, we have a spark of spirit within us. And this spark of spirit is encompassed within this soul. And we divide the soul into 3, or the higher self, into 3 levels. The very highest is your spiritual ego, or that place where you experience unity. And sometimes you'll experience a feeling of complete unity with everything when you're out in nature, when you're on the beach and it's quiet, or you're up on a mountain and you just suddenly get this feeling that there's no separation. The first time I ever experienced it wasn't a very spiritual place at all. It was at a James Taylor concert. And I was sitting there and suddenly all of the people in the whole auditorium, and there were thousands and thousands of people, all just became just like molds. And I can't remember what song he was singing, but he's a very spiritual man with an amazing energy. And everyone's energy just all became one. And I was just in this amazing place, aware that there was only one, and this music had come from the one and was uniting everyone in that moment, in that place. And it was an incredible experience that once you have had taste of this experience, you cannot deny that unity is there and you are drawn to it. So that's your Atma. Your body is just a vehicle of spirit. So the two are not separate, not really, but your body is where the Buddha is found within you. This is, when we go into meditation and I ask you to be the watcher on the riverbank, watching the thoughts go by, I'm inviting you to go into your Buddhic nature, into the silent watcher, the observer. You know, there's a part of your mind that sometimes watches your thoughts. Do you, I mean, you might not be as crazy as I am, but do you laugh at your own thoughts? Sometimes you go, oh yeah, you're not going to get me with that one today, or there you go again. Or you hear your mother in your head, or you hear, you know, someone else in your head, and you know that's not your thought. You know, how can you be the thought if you're watching the thought? So who's watching the thought? And it's the body. It's the Buddha within you, the silent observer. The body is also where we get the higher emotions, gratitude, forgiveness, unconditional love. And when I was coming up on the train today and I was reading some stuff, I was thinking the body is really where we start to develop discrimination, where we start to recognize goodness, truth and beauty. Now we can't recognize goodness, truth and beauty unless they are within us. And this is where they are. So we can only recognize those qualities in writing, in art, in other people, in situations, if they're within us. Otherwise we wouldn't know what they were.
I thought the Buddha is the one-pointedness.
The one-pointedness comes when this is aligned.
But you only have the Buddhi as one point, isn't it? Is the Buddhi is the one point.
It is in Buddhist teachings, yes. That is true. The one point comes when you come through the triangle. If you like a triangle's base, at the base of a triangle there is duality. So it might be the yin and the yang, or the male and the female, or the personality and the soul. However that unity is realized or expressed. And then the apex of the triangles where it's brought to a one-pointedness.
Well, the triangle is just a symbol, but the Buddhi is only when you concentrate on one point. Otherwise.
But when you concentrate on one point, you bring yourself into this. This is a vehicle. You bring yourself into the Buddhi.
That's why I have a problem, because then there's no discrimination. Because this means two. But if you are one, then you can't be two. Then the discrimination must be not in the Buddhi, because you have both at the same time.
The Buddhi gives you a discrimination of truth. If you like, truth has no duality. It just is.
Yeah.
Truth. I'll talk about this in a bit more, but the difference between knowing something that just is. There's no question. It's infallible. It's irrefutable. It just is. And this is what we're talking about here in terms of intuition. Intuition is a quality of knowing that comes from the Buddhi. It's one-pointed. There's no duality. A truly intuitive feeling, message, thought
comes from within.
And you don't question it, because there is nothing to question. It is just truth. It just has that quality, and you recognize it because it's within you. And so you are right, you are completely right. Intuition is one-pointed. If you're, if it's coming, if it's thoughts you've had before, if it's, oh yeah, it's not intuition. If it's running through your thinking, processing,
you never know, might be intuition and mix up.
Sometimes you're right, and this is the hard part. This is where discrimination develops. As you meditate, the beautiful thing about regularly meditating is your discrimination allows you to start to recognize that which is just my normal conditioned mind, and that which comes from a higher source. And you can discriminate or discern between the two. And you start to discern out in your life. You start to feel when people are truthful and feel when they are not. And you can't put your finger on why you know that. My kids, it drives them crazy. I was talking to Beryl before, because they can't lie. Because I've got quite a good tuned in for that one. And they just, no matter what they do, they don't know how I do it. If they are not telling me a truth, I know that they're not telling me a truth. And I will always know that, because it's irrefutable.
Well, I think it's quite often, isn't it? Because you have to keep relationships up. So
That's right.
So it's a lot of angst there if you break them. So people don't tell each other the truth fully.
Yeah, there's lots of, I'm not going to go into that. There's loads of reasons why people don't.
That's for next time.
Yeah, that is next time. Then we have this idea of the mind being split. And the mind is not the brain. The mind is beyond the brain, if you like. Our minds are capable of connecting to the universal mind, to minds of other people, to all thoughts and information that, if quantum physics will tell you, is everywhere and available to us all the time. So your higher mind, we divide it. It's not truly divided. When you lift yourself up into your higher mind, you do this whenever you study occult classics, or you study philosophy or Shakespeare or poetry, or you concentrate. Whenever you bring yourself into a one-pointed concentration, you lift yourself up into this higher mind or higher manas. Whenever you use your imagination, and this is why imagination and visualization is a very powerful tool to develop the mind. And in terms of meditation, your visualization is one of the highest forms of meditation. And children do it without even thinking. They live that way. We come back to it. Then I'm going to talk about this bridge in a minute. This is our personality. This lower triangle is like the personality that we present to the world. Part of that we divided up is our lower mind. And this is the part of your mind that's logical, rational, deals with everyday things. This is the thinking. This is the thinking that you do. It's where you find the mundane thoughts, the thoughts that keep on running, the conditioning, your beliefs, your attitudes. It's where your ego is found, especially in combination with your emotions or your astral body. And these are the lower emotions. Basically, if you like, the higher emotions up here embody love. The lower emotions tend to embody an absence of love.
But if you have love, you have also hate, isn't it? If you have only one,
not up here. There is only love.
That's right.
Yeah, only love is real. Everything else is an absence of love. But that's a whole nother lecture as well. Yeah. I'm going to give you something to read that will help with that one.
Oh, I can't read anyway. So.
Okay.
No. She'll read it to you.
All right.
And then we have our etheric body. And the etheric body, if you're not sure about that word etheric, just think of energy body. So you're all aware we have an energy body that some people see. I mean, the aura that people see is more than just your energy body. But we're all aware of our energy body. Do you ever find there's somebody that you just don't feel right with? This is your reaction. It's here, and there's something about their energy that doesn't resonate with your energy body. And other people you feel really drawn to. Sometimes you walk into a room and you'll think, oh, it just feels uncomfortable, or sometimes it feels really welcoming. And you know, if you're therapists and things, you can do things to that room to change the energy in that room so that people's energy bodies feel comfortable. Our energy body is the key to our health. We interact with the world through our energy body. We absorb energies, we give out energies. And as we meditate and do yoga especially, the energy body gets stronger. It also gets more able to handle different energies. It becomes responsive to different energies. A lot of ill health comes from negative energy. And it might be from other people or your environment, but it can be mostly from your own thoughts. Your thoughts and your energy body are linked. And this is where yoga helps to bring them back into alignment, because yoga is not just the physical asanas and doing postures. There's a whole lot more to yoga than that. Quite often you go to a yoga class and you're not even aware of all the different layers of things that are going on, but we'll talk about that a little bit. So your energy body is where your vitality comes from, your chi. You heard the words chi or prana. The energy that runs in the meridians and the nadis that Chinese medicine and acupressure and acupuncture and Reiki and all these different therapies tap into. It's how we will heal people in the future. We won't need to go into the physical body because the energy body feeds and interacts with the physical body all the time. Most illness and disease starts in the energy body, and if we don't clear that negative energy, it then manifests as physical illness. So one of the things that yoga can do is help to keep that energy body nice and clear, so you keep well. Your immune system's linked to your energy body. Your emotions affect your energy body. If someone is very negative in their outlook or going through a very stressful, negative time where they're fighting with their emotions, they often become ill. Their energy body is weakened. And someone who sees them, sees auras, will see different colours, and they'll see holes in their energy body and that sort of thing. And then you've got your physical self, which we all know. Down here in your physical is where you experience isolation. I am separate. That's your body, this is my body. This is down in matter. Up here, we are linked. This is the unity. So down here is a lot more dense.